In the world of Elen, a great war between the continents of Evros and Elkesh is forcibly brought to an end by the Tempest, a cataclysmic storm that rages over the surrounding oceans. An uneasy peace has been solidified, but over the last 2 centuries a cold war has frozen the hearts of many. A group of adventurers calling themselves the Hydra have joined to thaw out the ice. Their mutual friend has been slain, and now their quest to solve an ages-old mystery truly begins. Blood is hotter than water, in a debt to a friend. A homebrew campaign.
Once again, I have caught the cold for the second time in as many months. And this time it really doesn't want to leave me. So I'm going to use my sick days, for they are my days, to perform the next session recap. I apologise in advance for any coughing and spluttering and sneezing and blowing my nose that will occur. I'm not going to edit out every single instance of that, I'm afraid. In session 18 of Debt of a Friend, the players and the characters as well have had a chance to cool their heads after the regretful instance of slaying Nezarec the Hungry, and indeed Nezarec the Wronged, once chained to an island just above the Royal College of Magics of Freegate to be taught concepts such as compassion and honour and valour and understanding and just sheer common sense. The head librarian H.Y.D.R.A had failed in his task and was corrupted, his death being the price of hubris. The party now decides on their next move. That they're going to travel to the nearest place of power given to them, at least the location given to them by Damien and Lionel of the Royal College of Magics. We spend some time in Freegate, mopping up the last of our duties. H.Y.D.R.A is asked by Torvin Orkfo if he'd be willing to enter into a partnership for blacksmithing. That if ever you leave the adventuring life behind you, I'll always have some work for you. I could do with a bit more of an attentive apprentice, he yells to the back rooms, where the apprentice is probably sleeping on his lunch break. And H.Y.D.R.A nods and says, maybe I shall take you up on that. As he walks out, he feels some extra weight to his coin purse, an already bulging sack. I can't laugh because I'll cough. And H.Y.D.R.A says, that sneaky son of a... And he smiles as he continues on his path to meet the party. Rakanar sells off the Morning Stars, Scimitars, and we also let the shopkeep have the single silver piece for our quarterstaff that we got from the Goblin Encounter 3 or 4 sessions ago. So we all get about 11 gold pieces each. Hey. Cornelius finishes writing his letter to his love in the park. Rakanar, training with Nero, doesn't quite manage to teach him a new trick, but there'll be room for that later, or time for that later, rather. And H.Y.D.R.A, I'm feeling a bit better now, is willing to accept from me an artificer infusion of enhanced defense, or improved defense. So his shield, the following morning, will have an aura of dry ice that is not at all brittle, which doesn't quite make sense to him as a blacksmith, but he is very much familiar with magic thanks to his blessing of the Raven Queen, meaning that it makes a bit more sense to him in that context. He slaps me on the back, impressed by my handiwork, causing some bruising that I try not to show, having been familiar with hazing rites of the military many moons ago. After a night in the tavern, our party presses on. We mount up Thanatos Marvin, Takavira's horse named Cannibal, and Rigsby and I are eager to make a move. Excuse me. On our path to the Barrier Mountains, we find merchants offering us coin to transport them. One in particular offers 100 gold pieces per person in the escort. We debate this as we're reminded of the details. We need to take the mountain paths to the temple dedicated to the element of air. It's going to be a rather dangerous path, potentially, laden with bandits and other flying creatures. And that, do we really want to get civilians involved in this? And do we have time to escort this person along with this world-saving quest? However, 100 gold pieces, not something really to turn our nose about. Philip Nevins, the man offering the gold, is the only one who really seems to be ready to go now. Other merchants are still going to spend a few hours packing up and tying up their wares to make sure they're secure for the road ahead. He's a middle-aged human with pale skin and a pair of spectacles on his nose. He has a friar's haircut and is fairly well dressed, but does not appear to be from one of the major trade houses who would have their own guards. His small cart has a strong beast of burden pulling the overload, and he's hauling his farming equipment, hoping to make a deal with the Grismoldians, whose technology is lacking, but they have arable lands, something that the kingdom has a great cost to the kingdom since the days of the Empire, that Grismold have benefit from the independence by being able to feed themselves rather than the Empire. We agree to help this man and travel for a few days on this busy road. It's not so surprising that when we come into a road, on a bend in the road, we come face to face with another wagon heading in the other direction. It's pulled by a draft horse and driven by a gnome with a pointy hat. "Oh, hello there, travellers! Are you coming over this here way?" And we say, "We are, yes. Have you anything to report for us?" "Oh, well, you'd best have some caution, friends. Betsy and I were assailed by a great flying beast." He spreads his arms out for extra pizzazz. "A great red dragon it was. We escaped them and some bandits, we did. But Eldor, the G.E.E.S.E outpaced them, we did." But if you are travelling west, I've got some items that may be of use to yourselves, than perhaps more use than to me. I've managed to get out of the danger, and you're going to be going straight into it. So what do you say, friends? As he shows us his 6 potions of healing, a cloak of protection, and a ring of jumping, as well as an enchanted sword. And it's much like a regular sword, but the magic allows you to strike more true. So in other words, it's probably a +1 sword. I don't think we would have +2 at this point in the game. So the potions are sold for 50 gold pieces each, but each of the magic items are valued at 500 gold pieces. Now, H.Y.D.R.A, using the money he stole from the Royal College of Magics, managed to get the cloak down to 525 gold pieces with a +8 to his persuasion, amazingly enough. And tells Jim Sprocket that this may well save his life. No. Jim Sprocket telling them that, yes, it might well save your life if you come against this scary red dragon. No offense. And H.Y.D.R.A nods, handing over the bag of gold, and says, if you do go to the Royal College, give Lionel and Damien the best from Hydra. And Mr. Gem Sprocket, they say, I don't know about that, I think I'll write them a letter. Lionel's not the most conversational type, eh? We travel on. We sit at the campfire. H.Y.D.R.A tunes to his cloak of protection, which now gives him like his AC total of like 20. Oh, good. Yep. But we're starting to wish that wasn't on the loot table now. After I've just he's boosted his AC by 2 in a single session. Great. And yeah, look forward to more spellcasters kicking my ass. Then actually, no, I should be all right with spellcasters. It's everyone else who's got to worry, I think. Moving on. We sit at this campfire. H.Y.D.R.A attunes to his cloak of protection. I cook some very salty ramen, but it's good enough. It's just noodles in a very salty beige broth. And H.Y.D.R.A decides that he's going to speak to Nero, and they talk to his once antagonist, and he says, H.Y.D.R says to Nero, would you be able to point out on this map where the great angry sky bird that harassed you one time is about? And Nero looks at the map, pecks at him, and realises, we have a bit of a problem, my friend. I can't read. So that was fun. And H.Y.D.R says, well, I'm afraid we're headed towards this dragon. But why do you want to go toward the dragon? Asks Nero the Eagle. We need to do this for a friend. Well, with friends like these, who needs enemies? Please, for us, keep an eye out. Oh, don't you worry, I'll be the first to preserve myself. Wouldn't have it any other way, H.Y.D.R says with a smile, as Nero perches himself atop the tree, a bit more wary than normal this time. Cornelius takes the first watch, a mess tin full of steaming ramen. As he looks at the setting sun, a pang of nostalgia hits him as he looks back on Freya Gate for what may well be the last time. The ramen's not bad, he's had worse. Upon his relief, he asks me if I've written a letter to my parents yet, to let them know that I'm okay. And I said I haven't, but I think I will eventually. Just to let them know that I'm safe. So I think that's what I'll do on my next rest, because I've actually written it on the home brewery, and like there's a little code in there as well. It's very obvious, but it'd be a nice little nod to say that like Katusha, rather the commissar, has a very difficult time saying the words "I love you," so she tries to hide it throughout the letter. So yeah, she's too professional. She's too professional and stoic for that. So, after that, H.Y.D.R.A relieves me on watch, and we mostly have an uneventful night, except for Cornelius, who gets back into his tent, waking up to a breeze. He once again opens the flaps up and sees again that he's on a mountaintop, and a figure approaches from the distance of this mountaintop. The Nervous King, as I've come to call him. It's probably not the best name for him, to be honest. He's just seemingly a king with a nervous system, and that's it really. It's just this nervous system thing with a brain on top, and a cloak that looks like he's got tiny hands going ah. But yeah, anyway, Cornelius tries to cast Dissonant Whispers to varying levels to no avail, to just try and get this thing to run away in fear from him, and the spell just can't seem to coalesce and bites into the figure. So he keeps backing up and backing up until just trying to hope that he hits the edge of the tent so he can crawl back into bed and pull the covers over himself like you would when you have a nightmare. Or when there's a beastie in the house chasing you. As the Nervous King approaches, more figures arise, and they're clearly undead. 4 of them stand and go in the same grim chorus. Why won't you make us howl, Cornelius? I don't even know what that means! Make us howl, Cornelius! You've already taken the first step, have you not? I don't know if I have! The dead eyes of the Nervous King's servants say, You have chosen the path of cowardice, Cornelius, like you always have. Why did you just... Oh no, it's right, this is just a nightmare. This is just a nightmare. Calling upon the every fibre of his rationale and logic that he can. Why didn't you go into the orphanage, Cornelius? Why didn't you seek out the truth? What truth? We owe thanks to you, Cornelius. Because of your greed, your selfishness, Zukov now helps us become whole. Zukov? No, this is a nightmare. This is just my subconscious playing tricks on me. I am really awake. And he paces back and forth, trying to wake himself up. If you do not help us become whole, Cornelius, perhaps Brother Omar and his children will. No, you're not real. You're not real. You don't exist outside of this nightmare. He steps towards the edge. The Nervous King advances, and a hand reaches out. The figures yell, Make us whole, Cornelius! It is your destiny! Cornelius backs up, losing his footing, and wakes up. He's sweating profusely, chuckling nervously, saying, I knew it. Just a nightmare. But if it's real, like they're tracking it, they crashed airship, then he lies in contemplation. Ragnar, having trained Nero, learns precision, +2 to attack. A dirty 20 from animal handling makes it so.
Wow!
We pack up our things and travel with Mr. Nevins. The second day on the road is uneventful. Nobody's on the road, however the sun is blotted by a giant shadow in the skies. I shout to everybody, Take cover! And H.Y.D.R.A looks up, unable to see what the form is. Ragnar readies his bow but doesn't take aim. His heart beats, but no adrenaline causes him to lose its cool. We see nothing when we come out of cover, and Philip, not understanding why we rush to cover. The rest of the day remains uneventful, as we head to camp once more. On the third day of the road, we come across a stone bridge with a cart burning and bodies bloodied. H.Y.D.R.A finds anybody that's found dead. Anybody found is dead, and Ragnar sees that the bodies are warm, as if subjected to a furnace. A beating sounds emerges as Red Dragon lands. More offerings! Why should Zathorax, the Crimson Plague, allow you to live? I'm going to have to stop doing the voices a minute. H.Y.D.R.A And I think the party's just I think I've decided that, or rather the party has collectively decided, if not, I'll take responsibility for this, that like H.Y.D.R.A is perhaps the best one to deal with these, because I don't think we really want to kill dragons, and this was a pivotal thing really in the previous session, that like for our campaign, the way we're dealing with dragons is now fundamentally changed. We're no longer just rushing into combat, we're now actually engaging in things. This is something that I think the other two groups are going to do very differently. They're going to actually just like get straight into the combat, so we'll see. H.Y.D.R.A approaches, bows, and says, "Zatharax, it is good to see another one of my kin. Respect. Nice to see someone who knows their betters." H.Y.D.R.A launches his fire breath into the air as a sign of respect. "It appears you were one of the dragon kin." "Yes, but not as powerful or grand as you. I'm a mere diminutive form of what you are." Zathrax sits on his hind legs, as if a cat eyeing a mouse. Yes, yes, continue with your compliments, is what he's thinking. "May I approach?" "You may, whelp." H.Y.D.R.A notices something slightly off about him. He approaches and kneels. "I have heard tell of you, feasting on many a traveller that comes this way. Do you hunger? Is there a lack of food? Why? Just why?" Zathrax says, "It is good that you bow. Feel my power and aura." He steps back, spreading his wings. They're not as big as expected. "These traders have had nothing to offer you to my magnificent hall." Sorry, these traders had nothing to offer. Oh. I don't know which character was doing the voice of that. "These traders had nothing to offer to my magnificent horde." I suppose my pauses there are actually to help the voice, because that is a bit what Zathrax sounds like. Again, he's very different to the others. And so H.Y.D.R.A, well, what may a group as small as ours offer you? Zathrax wraps himself around himself. "Gold or magical items will be sufficient for one as magnificent as I." The voice cracks ever so slightly, at least to H.Y.D.R.A's ear. To us it sounds like gurgling magma in his throat, which is very much what I feel like right now. H.Y.D.R.A responds, this time it's Draconic. "I will be right back." And we huddle up and use message to communicate to each other, doing the finger guns. You, me, yeah. Etc. So, we deduct that he's definitely off. There's something not right about him. I'm thinking along the lines of polymorph or some sort of illusion spell. Like, is this just like an eagle that's been transformed into a dragon or something? Or is he ill? Or diseased in some way? So, we then start to talk about treaties, coexisting, offering protection, and basically a distraction for H.Y.D.R.A to speak with animals. And so H.Y.D.R.A returns and says, "No, I want my gold. My horde will be the most magnificent in all the lands." "Of course, Zathrax, the best and mightiest in all the land, but I come to talk about sustainability. You're being harrying many a merchant that comes through here, as is your right, as it is your land, but the kingdom of men don't take lightly to merchants being killed. Eventually you will draw too much attention to yourself. You might have a mighty battle ahead of you. Not that you're not strong enough to fend them off, but it would be quite an obstacle that would take time away from amassing your hoard. A tribute to you from the nearby villagers in return. Sorry, in return, all you do is hunt down the poachers, thieves, and individuals that might have dealt with and killed and killed. Sorry, my note writing wasn't the best here. You see me as a mere game warden. I am mighty. Give me tribute. You have your choice. He growls. Of course. But before I do let you go, I couldn't help but notice your wings. Mighty and majestic they may be, I couldn't help but there's something wrong. And Takavrea rolls at 18 for, I think, a nature check. This is a wormling, a red wormling. And he's very, very young. Like, even as young as wormlings are, this one's one of the younger ones. You're quite impulsive for a dragon. Dragons are thoughtful. They're not impulsive, and they don't draw attention unless they want to. They live, make their hoard, influence, and create dynasties. But you are content with burning merchants. The behavior of a youngling. I am Zathorix the Mighty, the Terrible. I want my gold. I want it now. Sorry. Wouldn't you prefer influence? To shape these continents into something of your own? Wouldn't you prefer worship? Yes. Yes, I would prefer to be venerated. I deserve it. Takavrea's 18 persuasion helps greatly here, as Zathrax once again flexes his wings, which haven't fully grown in yet. Tak approaches further, much to the threat of his own peril. There's a hint of malice to Zathrax's warnings that, should he come any closer, he might well burn. My flash of genius pushes an insight check from a 6 to a 10. Hey! And he recalls his draconic law with advantage on a nature check of 11 and 14. Christ, sorry about this, gang. Too many Marlboros. He realises that wormlings are very quick to anger, very proud, and full of themselves. I think that was for wormlings or red dragons, or maybe both. Mighty Zathrax, I want to tell you, perhaps a path you may take to achieve your ever-longing dreams. Let me try that again. Mighty Zathrax, I want to tell you that... perhaps this may well be a path you take to your ever-longing dreams, but of course I don't think I think myself worthy to someone to pander you. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I'll tell you a tale. A dragon in a seat of power, also the while doing this in human form, with none the wiser. He did this in secret to shape the world in a way he saw fit. What say you to this? Takavrea gets inspiration for this, for relying on the truth and of course saying it much better than I ever did there. Zathrax responds, why not have both? I am Zathrax the Great, I deserve it all. I will take gold, and then I will use it to generate influence throughout this land. 500 gold for your lives. In the meantime, Nero is asked his thoughts. Why don't we go away? Sorry. Why don't we go away? They have terrible breath, you see. Nero, please. If there's anything you know that might help us at this time, I'll just give him what he wants. I don't want to be eaten. I'm too beautiful to die. H.Y.D.R.A lets him go, trying to unfreeze him from his shoulder, but Nero's stuck staring at the dragon, but is told to waddle away from cover and answer the call of the horn when this is over. H.Y.D.R.A recalls his draconic law further, the relations between wormlings and their sires. Red dragons are solitary, keeping a passing bit of care to their wormlings, especially when hatched. But for the most part, they do not maintain strong family units. That when an egg is hatched, that's really as far as the parent remains before moving on. Just trying to get my breath back a minute. So, H.Y.D.R.A once again returns after consulting the party and says, my tribute. Will you offer me my tribute, or will you be my entree? To us, it sounds like sloshing lava combined with laughter, but to H.Y.D.R.A it sounds like a prepubescent core. Like Craig from the Good For Yous. H.Y.D.R.A offers him a counteroffer. Work with us for gold and influence, rather than hunting for your own gold. You talk down to your betters. What more do I need to learn? There's a food chain, and I'm at the top. He extends his jaw and extends a claw forward to H.Y.D.R.A in a come hither motion. Gold, magic, tribute. Tak uses thaumaturgy to make his voice boom again, slamming his shield before him. Enough of this foolishness, worm! You are ignorant of the ways of this world, and you shall stop harassing us or you'll end up in a grave. Have you not heard of Nezarec the Hungry? He is now in a grave. H.Y.D.R.A rolls Intimidation 18. To make his voice boom, he lifts his shield and ready for a flame attack, but Zathrax backs up and makes his retreat, scared off by H.Y.D.R.A's speech laced with a history of drake slaying. We decide to put the bones of the dead to rest now that Zathrax has gone. And Cornelius prays for them so that they may join the great symphony in the stars. Nero returns, surprised that you're alive, but mostly happy. From the remains of the cart, I put up a sign saying, "Here be dragons," as a warning to those who would come this way. Finally, we pack up and head out, having cleared the bridge of rubble and bodies. We're very much in and among the mountains, vertical slopes to the left and right with treacherous hills littering the land. We also find the gentle foothills on the other side, hopefully providing better crossing as we get to them. We come across a log across the road, which I promptly reduce down to a twig with enlarge and reduce. Nonetheless, bandits leap out of the hedgerows and rocks, saying, "Your money or... Hey! I thought I told you to block the road with a log, not a twig." "Sorry, boss. It was a log when I put it there." "Oh, whatever, just attack them. They're bound to be rich." So we roll initiative.
Wow.
Unsurprisingly, I didn't really record much of the combat that happened here, just the parts that felt the most significant, especially when my cold was sort of getting into fuller swing. So, I will just very quickly recap what happened here. The bandits launched themselves at us, but were able to defend ourselves from the brunt of a lot of the damage between a lot of clever use of defensive maneuvers and no short amount of dice rolls being quite low for the enemy. In a single turn, Ragnar manages to cleave 2 of the bandits in twain. Nero swoops in to peck the bandit captain for 5 damage, but then, following an attack of opportunity, he then pecks H.W.D.R.A in the eye by accident when the bandit captain moves. Wondering why Ragnar issued such a command. Why did you tell me to attack your friend? Never mind. Talk about it later, eh? They'll work out later, he says. H.W.D.R.A shrugs off many blows with his cloak of protection and my infusion, along with the rest of his armour. Cornelius spontaneously combunctions the Acolyte. The Acolyte, God almighty. I can't even have a go at him for combunction when I said Acolyte. Cornelius spontaneously combunctions the Acolyte, fire dancing as he emulates. The bandit captain turns to Nero as he rolls to hit, but rolls his 3 attacks, but his 3 attacks miss, even his final dagger misses Nero as Nero headbutts it out of the way. Ragnar, enraged by seeing Nero swung at, charges to his aid, and Cornelius uses Rigsby as a mount rest to shoot with his finger pistols, misses with his sacred flame, igniting a tree with holy fire. He says, "Joke's on you, there'll be a forest fire now!" And, oh dear, memories of the Lost Spider Fandelver session 1, I believe, come back to mind. Nero comes to the rescue to finish off the captain, dealing the exactly 5 needed damage to tear out the bandit's throat with his raking talons. And that's just about where the session ends. The next session we will be back on the road. Hopefully with 100 gold, hopefully 100 gold richer, me slightly healthier, and all eager to return to the game and hopefully make a bit more progress. I apologise for how badly this session recap went. I did enjoy doing the voices, and how much this cold has in a way enhanced some of them for me. But unfortunately the coughing really did ruin a lot of it. But no, honestly, it was a it was sorry, it was a very good session all the same, and I did enjoy it, had a really good time, can't wait to play the next one, and yeah, it's good, we're making progress. I think we're all finding what we like to do. I think H.W.D.R.A's player really enjoys interacting with dragons. I think Ragnar enjoys interacting with Nero. I enjoy the skill checks more than anything else, really, and I think Cornelius just enjoys interacting with everyone and everything, so that's helpful. So yeah, yeah, just a shame for this damn cold, really, otherwise I might have actually had a bit more to do and say, but never mind, and recording my notes a bit better. But yeah, that's something to work on for the next time. Try and get more useful notes, and try and cut down on the ones that are not so important, or at least not as funny to litter the video with. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Again, apologies for the lack of quality, and I shall see you later. Ta-ta for now.